On page 44, you're going to see the second checklist that I have. Remember, for every essay you do in the class, I have a checklist that means these are the items I think are really important that I'm looking for as you write your paper. So this is the analysis of an argument. You've read two arguments about a particular issue. One takes one side, one takes the other. And you're not arguing. Remember, that's not your job. You're just analyzing how these two authors went about it. And maybe one of the two did a better job. It may not even be your position, but you're looking at these two people arguing. So let's take a look at the 9 items. I'm going to spend more time on some than others. So number 1, you have good intros and good conclusions. The intro should draw us in. So maybe you tell us a story. Maybe you have a startling statistic, something that brings us into your essay. And then a conclusion, you might look to the future. You can throw your opinion in at the end there if you want and say something about how you feel about the issue, but make sure this is basically not an argumentative essay. This is a report. It's an analysis of the way two authors have gone about arguing. Number 2, you've had good sources for both sides, so it's not fair to have a really good position on one side and then find a really poorly written essay for the other side. That's not fair. It makes it too easy. So make sure you're using either opposing viewpoints. This is the Palomar College Library Database, the opposing viewpoints, or CQ Researcher. And there you'll find really good essays. So I'm not too worried about that. I think you'll be fine, but you want to have 2 good sources. Number 3, you present the sides fairly. That means you're not arguing. I have to say that over and over again because people get a little confused. They think this is an argumentative essay. No, it's not. You're reporting. So you as a reporter are kind of like a person in a football game that's on the sidelines, and you're the reporter. You're watching both teams go through their struggles on the field, but you don't run down there and tackle somebody. You're on the sidelines. So you present both sides fairly. Now, number 4 is huge. Number 4 is the heart of your paper. This is what has to work here. So what you do is you first start with a mention, just introduce the 2 essays. Then you have a summary of each essay, just short paragraph each. What did they say? Again, you're not arguing, you're just reporting. This is what the first person said, this is what the second person said. Then you come to number 4. This is big. You have to cover what was on page 27. This is how you're going to do your analysis. You're going to look at things like support. What did you notice as far as the differences between one essay and the other essay as far as the kind of support they used? What about their tone? Which one seemed harsh and mean-spirited? Maybe. Did the other one seem kinder and more mild? You can tell because of the way they chose their words. What about style? Was one just more fun to read, easier to read? Was one full of really complicated words and you had to really slog your way through this thing? Organization. Which of them was easier for you to follow? It had good topic sentences. It had good transitions. You could follow their argument very clearly. The ethical appeal of the authors. What did you find out about the 2 authors? Which one do you trust more because of his or her credentials? What's their background? Use of concession. Did one admit that there's a good point on the other side and said, I'll give you that one, that's a good point? Or did they both do concession, or did neither of them do concession? So you're covering those key areas, and you're trying to decide which one is doing a better job in those areas. Number 5, still on page 44. Number 5, you have good coherence here. What's coherence? It's sticking things together so we can follow your point. So maybe you have good transitions. Where would you use the transitions? Well, when you're talking about, let's say you're talking about the authors, which one you trusted more. So you say, author A is very trustworthy because da 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 da. And then when you want to switch to author B, you might use the word, little word, but it's really powerful, however, or on the other hand, or but, to show that you're going to contrast author A with author B. So those are transitions. So I want you to point out one paragraph and just write next to it the word coherence. And just, you can type it in if you're doing this on Canvas. If this class is a person-to-person, face-to-face class, you can just write it to the side. But tell me, one of your body paragraphs, which one do you want me to look at for coherence? So I'm looking for things like good transitions, repetition, something that'll let me know where you are as far as you're going through the essays, arguments. Number 6, you have good organization. What's the organization? Well, let me remind you one more time. First is your summary of both points, both authors. Then you go into the analysis using all those items on page 27, tone, concession, author's credentials, and things like that. And deciding which one is the more effective of the two. Now, when you've decided which one's the more effective, bring up that point in your thesis. So you say, I read these 2 essays. They both had to do with fill in the blank, whatever it is, capital punishment, let's say. And I thought author A did a better job. Okay, so there's your thesis, meaning when you come down, you start looking at the style and the organization, that one author is going to be superior to the other. And then number 7, don't forget the grammar. That never goes away. So be careful about grammar. Style for number 8. The thing about style in this case, I would say, is your good opener and your good conclusion. So your opener, draw us in somehow. Good story, exciting point, interesting quotation maybe. So bring us into your essay. And number 9 deals with a challenging topic. Yes, it'll be challenging, no doubt about it. So does that make sense? One more time, the structure of this. By the way, on Canvas, I give you a sample essay and I give you a sample outline. So I just don't want you to get mixed up as far as how to put this together. But first of all, you're going to have your intro. You're going to summarize both essays, a paragraph each. Then you go to page 27. All those items on that last bullet point, tone and support and the author's credentials, use of concession, style, any of those things you want to talk about. You're going to talk about author A and author B in each of those sections. So that's it. That's the checklist on page 44. And I wish you well with this. It is a hard essay, so hang in there. Put some time and some effort into it, and email me if you have any questions.